Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for today, and this is a continuation of my test server episode 38 Wonderverse DLC series. So now we're bringing you the alert. Now I'm probably gonna butcher this pronunciation. It is called the Crypt of Penthesilea? Penthesilea? I don't know. It sounds Italian to me. If there's any more Italians in the chat, or I guess it has some kind of like Amazonian past in the comics, but I'm sure I butchered that pronunciation. But it is the you're gonna see it's called the COP alert. That's what you're gonna be seeing it called. This alert was designed by Qtoxic or Qtoxic. He is the developer that did Clock Tower and actually a bunch of other raids. He's been around for a long time. He also did like Dark Side War Factory, a whole bunch of stuff. So, with that being said, I actually really enjoy this alert. I mean, I've done everything at this point. I'm trying to find like a proper raid run, because each time I try to run the raid, I have a tank that's like super inexperienced or trying to run the stupid lasso artifact, and like ads getting dragged everywhere. Like, because the raid is just a big mess of ads. You'll see it's something's got to change, because it's like 20 minutes worth of ads and like 5 minutes worth of bosses. But it'd be trying to be like a melee DPS is Earth, or at least I was trying to be Earth in an example. I'll probably tank it. Honestly, I think my best point to do is just to tank the raid, so I can do everything myself. But yeah, I was having a hard time trying to get like anything that didn't make me look like a retard DPSing. So we're gonna skip that. But so at this point, I've done everything. I've done the open world. I've done the bounties. I've done the solos. I've seen all the solo variants. I've done the alert, obviously, the raid. The elite raid's not out yet. So I have an idea. I've done like most of the daily bounties, or not bounties, but daily missions. So I have a pretty good idea in terms of what the hype should be about, or what the expectations were going in. And the only thing really, honestly, at this point, I know it's early. It's still early. Like, there's still tons of feedback to be given, but the only point of this DLC that I'm hyped about, that I'm actually going to have fun with, is this alert. So that kind of gives the impression going forward early. I should talk about this. So basically, the alert has these little side rooms that have these kind of puzzles in them. You have to progress to be able to kill the artifact at the end. So that one that we were just in, that one is similar to the artifacts raid, where there's going to be artifact symbols on the walls and the hallways, and just be mindful of them, and then turn their cogs at the end to match up. This one, I don't know. That was just pure luck. I just did it in the first try. Every time I've done this, I've got it like on the first try. It's not the same thing each time, so I don't know how to do that room. So I've just been really, really lucky with it. I haven't really been following like any mechanics at all. So the one drawback you'll see kind of to this alert is that there's a lot of running around. There's a lot of moving towards other rooms. So that's kind of a downside, but it's fun. It's going to be fun and frustrating. It's going to be fun from like an end game. If you follow mechanics and understand, like, have situation awareness, you're going to have fun. You're not necessarily going to have fun in pugs, and I'm sure pugs are going to struggle in this because they can't follow like simple directions. But I'll call that out kind of when it happens. So yeah, essentially the first half of this alert is just you doing the puzzle rooms to be able to destroy the magical wards. And you're killing ads in the hallways. I would say the group makeup for this can be either 3 DPS and a healer, or 3 DPS and a tank. The final boss is much more difficult with a tank. But in this room here, it's similar to, we've had a mechanic like this before. So you look at their hands and see what weapon they're having in their hands. So if they have like a staff, right now they have one-handed axe. If they have a shield, whatever. So there's going to be one shield that's missing it in the center, you see. So you just have to match that weapon combo with what's lying around the room. So you just got to look for it. So there's going to be like staff, there's going to be two-handed, there's going to be shields. So once you turn the right cog and find it, it's going to unlock the magical ward. So I had to find the axe. Now the ward opens up, and we're done. So it's going to be one of those things where if you fail, ads will spawn. So it's going to be one of those things where if the group like rushes in and turns all the cogs and doesn't know what they're doing, then yeah, you're going to have to fight a ton of extra ads. It's kind of annoying from that point of view. Same thing with artifacts. So if you failed the artifact and the ad spawned, so it's like, let me do it kind of thing. Like, just call it out or rush in and do the right one. So those how you do this 2 side rooms. I don't know about the third one. Someone could put that in the comment section for me. But I I haven't failed it enough to even figure out what I'm doing. I just keep getting it right on the first try. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just that lucky, but I don't think I'm that lucky. So it brings us to the first boss here, Queen Diana. So I'll kind of shut up for the cutscene here.
Explain yourself. Atlantis is a threat that boiled over in my world. I cannot allow it to boil over here.
I will not allow an attack on innocent Atlanteans.
I knew you would think it wise to interfere, but it is too late. I have sent ahead my personal guard, and you will not get past.
Okay, so right off the bat, Queen Diana has more mechanics than the raid bosses. I'm legit telling you right now, Queen Diana is harder than the raid bosses. So that's a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, for an alert, but kind of frustrating for like pub players are going to kind of struggle. And honestly, if I had my way, I would just put Queen Diana in the raid. That'd be way more fun. Like, honestly, way more fun to have Queen Diana in the raid. So I'll kind of call it the mechanics as they come. The first part, so basically, she, as you can see, giant red text. Don't attack Queen Diana while she's blocking. Giant red text. You can see the icon above her. You can see the shield on her. Pugs will continually attack her, and it's reflects, so you die. The second mechanic is that she'll leave your powers. So the issue with that is that if you aren't a tank, you're continually getting attacked by her. You can't do anything. Can't take a soda. Can't take a shield. And the downside, or at least the feedback I'm going to provide, so I'm trying to be tactical. I'm trying to make the smart decision by running behind the weapon rack so that I can be out of line of sight of her weapon attacks. But the problem is that she can phase through the weapon rack. It's like transparent. So it's like, well, that doesn't help me. I can't hide. So you're literally screwed. Even if you're a tank and had aggro, like, you can't turn the cog because she's entirely on you the entire time. So here's the third mechanic, the lasso. If you're not blocking it, or in something like Empower Channeling, she will pull you towards her and then do the spin. So it's a lot of damage. Like, it's not something that's going to kill you necessarily, but it's something that you should be mindful of. And the same thing, she'll kind of cycle through that. And then you see attacking with Reflect Up. Same thing, weapon rack now powers. And it's just like, once again, get interrupted. I don't have tumbling mastering on because I have dashing mod, so it might be a little bit easier tumbling mastery, but like, there's different weapon ones. The other thing you could do is be mindful of that another player in the group can steal that weapon rack from you. So they can turn the cog first, and then that's gone. You have to go to another one. And same thing, don't attack while she's blocking. I mean, it's right in front of you. It's giant red text. Like, you can't miss that. There's like animation on her, giant red text. Same thing, block to avoid lasso. If you get blocked, you won't get pulled in. I have Empower Channeling on because I have Soul Amplifier 200, so that's why I was kind of ignoring that mechanic. And then she's got one other, I think she does it towards the end. This is like the least common one, where the red text will come up on the screen saying you have to hide behind a statue. And it's like a big kind of sandstorm, road storm. At the same time, I don't think it's stuff to kill, but it's certainly extra damage. So if you're not running with a healer, then you may want to hide behind a statue. But the most common that she rotates between the three is the reflect. See right there, she's phasing through the weapon rack. I mean, how are you supposed to turn the weapon rack cog if she can like phase right through it? So that's the one feedback I provide. So you see it right there. Get behind a statue. So she does this massive damage. It's not in the kill, like, as you can see, like, So Fresh, So Clean is out there, but maybe that hasn't been tuned yet. But same thing. You just get behind the statue. And then this part is the end fight of their, like, the end mechanics. I don't know if it's tied to that sandstorm one, but she does these arrow storms on the arrows where they land, and that's a lot of damage. Those arrow storms are like 30k ticks each. As you can see, I just died from it because I was kind of hoping I would get healed. But the same thing. So basically, whenever the arrow drops, just roll and get out at that distance, because you pretty much have to deal with that for the last like 30% of her health. And then it seems that she kind of enrages when she gets to 35 too, because she's doing her mechanics much more often. That could just be me, but I felt like she enraged and did her mechanics more often. So really, the only time you can attack really is the last one, unfortunately, which is why Power Channeling is kind of handy for that. Or dropping like orbitals or supercharges and stuff, because you can't attack during the block phase. You can't attack during the weapon rack phase. The statue phase, you're kind of out of line of sight. And then we kind of finished it there. So it's actually Pugs are going to struggle with that fight because Pugs can't follow like simple direction. But I mean, hopefully they'll get better. But it's actually really fun. You can do the tank as well, same thing. Like, there's not really much splash damage there. It's just the tank is probably going to die on the weapon rack phase because you're going to have aggro. So literally she's going to be weapon tapping the entire time. So you can't turn the cog. You can't put a shield up. So I tanked this the first time and it was just, I died. So I was like, oh, okay. But no, it's actually really fun. That was a really enjoyable fight. I wish that was a raid fight, honestly. Because can you imagine that as a raid fight? Like, having the entire group have to deal with, like, reflect, have to block and a pull in, had to hide out of line of sight, and lost all their powers. Like, you can imagine that in a raid group if you lost all your powers and had to turn a cog. People would be freaking out. There'd be so many deaths. Like I don't know. I wish that was a raid fight. Now the other, I don't know. This is my pet peeve. We get teleported to Atlantis. I hate swimming. I hate flight. Flight is the slowest in combat speed. I just don't like flight. I hated it during the Atlantis DLC, but I mean, whatever. We get to fight Poseidon, so it makes sense that we're in Atlantis. But I mean, you could always take like a super speed cola here, but it's just, I don't know. It's my pet peeve is I don't like flight. So once again, you're just killing ads in the hallways, more just kind of farming damage. If you had a tank, you could kind of pull the second set towards you, but they're too far apart as a DPS to be able to do that. And then kind of we're on the Atlantis bridge with some nice little statues there. So it's enough of a change. And you can see them like in the background too. Atlantis, they're all kind of fighting outside. And you obviously can't skip because the walls are destroyed as you kill the ads. So with this last fight, I'll kind of briefly talk about it before we get there. This is the one where it's tricky with a tank. I'll call it out when it happens, but I did this with a tank. The group died really easily, and you can't really blame them because it is a really it's not a hard mechanic, but it's a hard mechanic to avoid, and it's a lot of channel damage. So it's one of those things where you'd have to have much more situation awareness as a player to be able to survive that. It's not going to kill you as a tank. Like I didn't die as a tank. I even tried battle tanking as Earth just to kind of finish it myself, but it's just going too slowly. So it's not something that'll kill you as a tank unless like you just sit there and do nothing. But it'll kill you as a player. It's enough damage to kill you as a player. So we're coming up to the last cutscene here. I don't think in this one I was using the suicide artifact. I was using it earlier, but I'm pretty sure I'm just messing around with like Lamort now. Because as you'll see with Poseidon, it's just too annoying without a tank. So Poseidon is staff based, and it's just like Grail. He's gonna constantly do these staff combos on you, and the problem is I'm channel based. At least it's Earth. So a Heat Vision is a channel, like Upheaval's a channel, Sandblast is a channel. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? I can't tap block and screen block and interrupt them. This is one of the times I really wish the healer had situation awareness, could screen block for me, because it's not gonna kill me, but it's just really frustrating. So this is that channel attack. So he slams his staff down, and you can see it's tracking Dahiro. So that's a lot of damage. That's like 30k ticks every like half second. So the only way you can avoid that is get out of range. But it tracks you. So you have to like, as soon as he slams his staff down, you have to like book it to the edge. That's the only way. So if you're behind, you're slow. Because you're flight, you move the slowest in combat. So it's really easy for you to die in that situation. If it's a healer, then you just have to spam heals. Like that's how you negate it. But if you're trying this with like a tank, then that's the part you're gonna die. So this other side here, you have to go to the edges to turn the cogs so the ads don't spawn. They're really spread out, as you can see. Like they're all on the edges, and this is a big room. So I don't know if there's a feat tied to that where but I don't know. But Poseidon is mostly a lot just frustrating from the aspect where it's all interrupts. I can't even get off a 10-second rotation without being like CC'd on Upheaval or Sandblast or Heat Vision or something. It's one of those things where all someone has to do is screen block, and he'll be constantly on his ass the entire time from the counters. But same thing. There's one of those channels again, and it's tracking you, and then the person brought it in front of me, facing me. Luckily, I had a shield. But even the Poseidon fight, it's fun. I mean, you've got the ad mechanics, you got his staff mechanics. He does a lot of feints where there's no point to even try blocking him, block breaking. I don't even know if you can block break. Well, you have to be able to block break him because you could block him. So he's susceptible to counters. But at the same time, it's just basically it's like a tank and spank or like just a burn. But you've got ads on the outside, so you have to have at least some kind of AoE to kill them because they're going to be on you the entire time. You've got his staff spin to worry about. You've got the torrent. You've got the water pools. So overall, it's really engaging. Both boss fights are really engaging. There's a lot of ads, so it kind of breaks it up, and it's a longer alert. I think we did it in 16 minutes, but I've seen people take like 25, 30. So it's one of the things where it's just the damage and the amount of deaths you have, stuff like that. But I really enjoyed this alert. Well, I really enjoyed the Poseidon and was it Queen Nina? I think it was Queen Nina. Like, I really enjoyed those fights. And even the puzzles. The puzzles were legit. It's fun. They're quick. If you fail, the mad spawn. Like, it's really straightforward. So, here's the alert here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. But, I mean, to me, so far, the only promising aspect of this DLC is to kind of have fun in the alert. And then, obviously, it's going to kind of dissipate, but it's still what it is. So, take care, guys. We'll see you in the next video.